Hi, so today I'm going to walk you through how to use the Lifetise budget. And it's a little bit of a different way of thinking about how to use your money. It's about being a little bit more intentional about where you want to put your money so that it doesn't just feel like you get some in, it all kind of filters through your bank account, runs through your fingers, and at the end of the month, you're like, where did I spend all of that? So the first thing you're going to do is click on the link to open up the budget in Google Docs. And then step one is that you need to make a copy because this one is locked for editing. So you go into File and either you click on Make a Copy, or if you prefer to work in Excel, you can download it as an Excel document and then you can save that to your computer. So I'm going to make a copy so that I can keep recording this. Click OK. And now here we are. So this is the copy. This is now editable. This is your version. You can keep it in your Google Drive, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's get into it. So step one, and one of the things that we always say is really important, is you need to have some motivation for what you're working towards. So step one is all about getting pictures of inspiration for the type of property that you want to get. And so here you can click to replace these images, find images that make you feel excited about the whole process, that make you feel inspired to keep saving for your deposit. The road is often long, so we need to have images of what we're working towards. So don't skip this step. Spend a little bit of time on this before we get into the calculations. It will make this whole budget making feel a lot better for you. And pull whatever pictures that you can find that make you feel good. Now, I should say that we do have another tab here, which is if you get stuck on how to use this budget and you don't want to rewatch this video, then you can always click on this tab and we've got a little bit more detailed instructions on how to use it. Okay, back to the main event. So you've added your images, you've got the inspo of the beautiful thing that you want to buy. Now let's get into some numbers. So I'm going to need you to log into your online banking. You're going to grab last month's or the last couple of months' bank statements, and then you're going to start inputting your numbers on what you spend on essentials. Now, what do we mean by essentials? We mean things that you need to live. Now, whenever I talk to people about what are essentials, some people have a slightly different view of whether things like Netflix is an essential. I think probably, I'm recording this just after lockdown in the COVID pandemic. So I think for a lot of us, Netflix did become an essential, but generally here we're talking about what are your living costs. So how much you spend on rent and mortgage, what essential bills you have to pay, whether you're covering childcare, what travel you have to do to and from work, and you should probably include some social transport in there as well, and then food. And you may have some other things depending on your personal situation that are essentials, so feel free to put them in. Now, the only boxes that you change are these light blue boxes. So the first thing that you put in is what your monthly take-home pay is. So we have an example here, but you put in how much you get in your pay packet after they've taken out tax and your student loan and everything else. So whatever you get in your bank account after you've been paid. And then ignore the purple boxes. We calculate those for you. And then you just enter in however much you pay for these different things every month. So it's the monthly total. If you have things that I haven't already added here, you can just write those in. So whatever is relevant for your situation. I've got some tips here. We're going to come back to those at the end because these are actions that you'll take after you've done your actual budget. So step two, again, take your time, go through your bank statements. For most of us, a lot of these bills and things will be the same amounts every month, but just take your time so that you get the right amounts in there. Okay, great. So you fill out all of your essentials. And what this is going to show you in this purple box here is the total amount that you have to have every month for your living costs, right? These are your essentials. Apart from like moving home or changing your mobile bill, a lot of these are fixed costs. So we put them in the budget and then we effectively forget about them for now. Okay, so you've added all of your costs. And what this is going to show you is here's how much you could potentially afford to save each month. But at the moment, it's not realistic because it's basically said, here's how much money I get in total. And then here's how much I spend on all of my living costs. And then this amount that it spits out is what's left. So that would only be relevant if you didn't spend any money on anything else in your life. So you never went out, you never got takeaways, you never did any other living. You just sat at home and went to work and did nothing. So here you're going to put in a different amount. You're going to put in your monthly savings target if you've used Home Finder. And if you don't know where to find that, we have a separate video on how to find your monthly savings target. Otherwise, it's just going to be the amount that you believe you can save each month. So let's put this in. Let's say we want to save £250 per month, right? You put that in, and it's this purple box here, you can see, is now showing you how much money you have left to spend on fun after you've put aside your savings and you've put aside your living costs. Okay, so let's move on to the next bit. So with the numbers that we've put in, we've worked out how much you get paid, how much you can afford to spend on living costs, how much you're saving each month, and how much you have left for spends. This bright pink box here is showing you that if you do manage to save £250 each month, then you're going to save in total £3,000 in a year, which is worth celebrating, right? So this box is going to tell you how much your total savings will be over a year. Now, I told you we had various tips here along the side, and let me explain those before we go any further. So each of these tips is asking you to take a further action that is going to make this budget actually work for you. So when we come to look at your living costs, I want you to try as far as possible to set up direct debits for all of the bills that you pay. Obviously, you can't do that for food, but you can do that for most bills. If you're in a shared house and you're responsible for certain bills and other people are responsible for others, then set up standing orders or use one of the apps so that your bill payments come out of your account automatically. Usually best to do it for, say, the day after you get paid, right? So you want to make sure you've got the money in to be able to pay it, but you want to set up all of these automatic payments so that you don't have to think about it anymore and you don't get tempted to spend the money on anything else. So set up direct debits straight from your bank account so that you pay all of your bill payments. Now, for your savings, you're going to want to do something similar. So for your savings amount, we suggest that you set up a standing order from your bank to transfer your amount of savings, so the £250 a month, into your savings account, whatever type of savings account you've got. And again, if you can do that around the day that you get paid or the day after you get paid, then again, you're just making it automatic. You don't have to think about it. And it means that you're much, much more likely to stick to that savings target because it gets taken out straight away before you can spend it on something else. So that's your savings, right? Now let's look at this amount that you have left to spend, this £305 in your spend box in purple. So step 3 is all about how I want to spend my money. And like I said at the beginning, we do things slightly differently at Lifetise. We ask you to be a little bit more intentional about what's important to you, how you want to spend your money, so that you feel good about it. And so here is where you get to take a bit of time to think about what mix of activities and things that you buy would make you happiest. And here's how you fill it in. So you've got this purple box at the top, the £305, which is the amount that we know you can afford to spend on stuff. And here is where you're going to say how you want to spend it. So again, it's always the light blue boxes that you edit. And you basically say, okay, Here's how I like my life to look. I like to spend time with friends, and I'm going to do 3 times a month. And I normally spend around £25 when I go out. So that's going to come to £75 in total a month. Okay, I can do that. And so you're filling out each of these rows for the things that are important to you. So these examples that we've given here, nights out with friends, clothes, Netflix, Spotify, they're just examples. Change these to whatever you want. If there are things that we haven't got here that you do like to spend your money on, you can add them in these rows here. And each time you're just working out, okay, so how many times a month do I do this? How many times a month do I want to be able to do this? And how much can I then afford to spend on that thing each month? Now, it's really important that you keep an eye on the totals, the running totals. So here in this purple box here, we're calculating how much all of these things that you want to do will cost you each month. And then this box down here is how much you would have left over. So this one is really important because you need to make sure that all of these things that you're putting up here, you can actually afford to do. They all fit within the total that you have. So at the moment, we're doing fine, right? We had £305 that we could spend. So far, everything that we've put in, we're only spending 211. Okay, so for example, I'm a bit of a book fiend. So if I wanted to buy books, I would say I want to buy 3 a month. They normally cost me, I don't know, around £10 each. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. What does that give me? Okay, so now you see our totals are changing. If I do all of those things, it's going to come to 241 and I've still got 64. Okay, so what if I wanted to actually see my friends 5 times a month? Does that work? Yeah, okay, I can still do that. And then what if I actually wanted to buy 2 items of clothing a month at the same price? Okay, all of a sudden, as I change this, you see that it's turned to red in this box here, and it's telling us that we're £16 over budget. So we can't actually afford to do this. So as you're adding in things, as you're putting in rows, keep an eye on this box and make sure that it's stuff that you can definitely afford to do. And of course, you might change this some months. It just gives you an example of how you would like to spend your money so that you just get used to thinking about, actually, do I want to do this or not? Am I just wasting money on things that aren't actually making me happy? They're not really part of my plan. It's just, again, like we said, about being a little bit more intentional about it. Now, finally, if you suddenly find in this green box that you have a lot more money left over than you were expecting, that means you can afford to save more. So if that happens, you just go back up to the top where you were putting in your savings target, and you would just change that to, so say you had £100 left over in that green box, you could actually choose to put that into your savings. So you would just change that to £350 here, and then you would still have the right amount. So there's one final section for us to look at. And that's at the bottom. Now this section is optional, but it's quite fun. If you find that you regularly run out of money and it does you feel like money slips through your fingers, this is a brilliant one to do because it's the opposite of the exercise we did above. This is about writing out things you do not want to waste your money on anymore. And we all waste our money on stuff, right? We do. And a lot of the time that's fine. We don't mind. We've got enough. But if you're serious about saving, if you've got real targets you want to hit, then this is quite a useful way of just working out for yourself, do you know what? Here's where all my money goes, and I don't want to do that anymore. So again, you edit the blue boxes, and here you're just writing out the things that you think that you waste your money on. So my examples were boring Pret sandwiches that I always do when I'm in a rush at work. And I probably end up buying them, say, 3 times a week, which is 12 in a month at around £4. That's 48 quid a month that I waste on boring Pret sandwiches that I don't want to do. My other one is paying for spin classes. So I pay in advance and then I never go to them, which is a horrible waste of money. And if I do 3 of those a month, for 12 quid, then I save £36 a month. So again, you're just adding a list of things, and it's just a mental reminder of here's what I don't want to spend my money on. And it's great because at the end of it, you can see, like, if I don't spend my money on these things, then here's how much I could actually save each month. So I hope all of this makes sense. Any questions, as always, you can get in touch with us at hello@lifetise.com. I hope it's really useful for you. If you have comments and feedback, please do share them with us. And I hope it's a really useful way for you to budget better. Thanks and see you soon. Bye.